What up, guys? Welcome to my part 6, last and final 12 by 2.5 inch heavy duty drum brake disc brake swap. The target video is for years around 65 to 72, for the fact that 1969 was the first option with these trucks to come out with disc brakes. Not many of them did have them. There are a few that do. Most people with the 65 up to about a 72, you're looking to do a disc brake swap. Now, you were told by many and on the forums to just go down to the junkyard and take everything off of that truck. You want to take off the I-beams, because it's a big kingpin, right? It's a heavy duty. It's 8,500 gross vehicle weight. That's why it has the dual piston disc brakes on it. You want to take that, plus you're going to need the drag link, you're going to need the pitman arm off of it, the tie rod ends, and everything else. But here's my thing. Why would you want to put all those junk parts back on your car when you're doing a disc brake swap, when all you really need is the backing plates, right? You're going to have to buy everything brand new anyway. Why would I want to buy a junk brake booster and master cylinder? My last and final video is to show you that it is possible and it has been done. This is my 69 F250 camper special, 7,500 gross vehicle. Came with 12 by 2.5 inch heavy duty drum brakes, power brakes, and I swapped out the dual diaphragm brake booster, disc drum master cylinder from a 77 Ford F250 with the 8,500 gross vehicle weight. I just got through doing all my copper nickel brake lines. It was a little challenge, but I got it done. The most challenging one, it was the rear, for the fact that you can't really see it, you got to feel it. And it caused a little more issues mounting the proportioning valve underneath this bracket. Now, I did try this bracket to make it farther down and straight up and down, but the problem with that is it just took up way too much room, and I liked it better like this, so I had to face the challenges of having it like this. So basically, I got one line coming out from that side. That is the passenger side wheel. The front one is the driver's side wheel. And then the very rear, following the factory location of the other line, the factory lines. I did the best I could. Now everybody else is going to do their brake lines their own way, whether they put the little loops in them or not. I wanted to put the loops because everybody says to do it, and there's a big debate whether it needs it or not. So I went down in there, put a little things, they're not touching anything. We got some spring action here still. Little spring action. These were my first lines that I bent. It looks more like a water slide, but I might change these. But you know what? I might just leave them as well. They work. Why change it? Okay, so let's go over here. I'm working on my last brake line. What I did is, like in the previous video I talked about, I coupled it together. Make it easy on myself instead of running another line, because that is a brand new stainless steel line that I bought from inline tube, which fit like crap, and I don't recommend buying those. Anyway, I just basically coupled it up, made my own line, very simple. This is the last one, and as you can see now, because it doesn't have the bottom part, it's a little wiggly. So what I plan on doing is put this right here, make it look as nice as I possibly can, instead of having it bounce around. I don't think it will that much, but it will. you know, vibrations. So there you have it, guys, 77. Now, I will add this. If you're watching this video for the first time and you didn't watch any of the other ones that I put out, there are two types of dual piston disc brakes, about 69, late 68, all the way up until 1975. The actual rotor and the calipers and the backing plates are different than this setup that I have. This is a 77. And I believe they actually used them all the way up into the 80s. But it started in 1976 on the F250s. And it had this little T thing, and that's what it slides back and forth on it. And the backing plate is a little bit different, and the reason why I picked the later design is because I wanted the ease of just setting the caliper down, flipping it forward, and then pushing this thing in instead of having the ones with the little stubby nuts that break off. That was the design from 1969 to 1975. These pieces, as far as I know, are not interchangeable, so you can't go down and get a 73 8500 gross vehicle weight truck and then put a 77 rotor on it. It changed in 76. So 1976 and up would be this design. So with that being said, a little recap. I had to change the inner bearing and the race, because in 1976 the inner bearing and the race is bigger than the 69 to 75. So here, all I gotta do now is I gotta hook up my vacuum hose. I gotta bleed the master cylinder, which I usually do on the vehicle. I got this side all routed in. Okay, I'm trying to get under here, and I wanted to show you, this is where they chose to put that other valve at. That's why I did not want to put my valve down here again. You can barely even get your hands in here to tighten anything up, but the old valve used to be in here. That's the distribution valve. It wasn't a proportioning valve. It's a distribution valve. Basically, it was just for your warning light. To make it easy for myself is coming from the proportioning valve to the left wheel, I just joined it together right here. I had previously had inline tube stainless steel lines, and there's really no reason for me to run more line. And I know that this is a big connector. A lot of people are going to frown on this and think, but you know what? As long as your flares are right, this goes to the rear anyway. So basically this is a long one coming from the rear. It goes into a coupler for that size, and then it goes from here. Otherwise I could have just cut this, reflared it, but I would have had to take the whole brake line off. Okay, so I don't care about this. As long as your flares are good and they're tight, you shouldn't have a leak. It only leaks if there's something wrong. Either your flare is not good, or it's not tight enough, or the flare is crooked or something. So this is the one that comes from the back of the valve, and then it goes into this coupler. And of course, because this line for the rear was bigger, I had to use this one. Otherwise I would have just went right into there. Now, if this causes me any issues, what I'll do is I'll cut it off right here, reflare it, and then just stick it in this one. But that's how I did this side. So this is driver's side wheel in the rear. And then the front right, like I said, was already inline tube, brand new. And that's what goes to the coupler over there. That's what $150 looks like at a brake shop making your lines for you. $150. So my little couplings, I'll roll with those all day with a smile on my face. I decided to go down and only get the backing plates off of a 77. And with the backing plates, I bought brand new rotors. I bought brand new calipers and pads, brand new brake hoses, and swapped out the inner bearing. The same size as the Camper Special, which is a set 45 Timken. The 77 used a set 47. So for those who say that you have to go out to the junkyard if you want to put a disc brake swap off of a 250 on your old drum brake truck, they're wrong. You don't have to do that. And you know why I did it this way? I don't want 8,500 gross vehicle weight beams. I don't want to have to swap out my Pitman arm. I don't want to have to go buy brand new drag link and tie rod ends to fit that 8,500 gross vehicle weight front end. Now, from 1968 to 1975, you don't have to swap out your inner bearing. If you decide to go to the boneyard and you find a truck that has disc brakes on it from 1969 to about 1975, just get the backing plates off of it. The inner and outer bearings are going to be the same size as your Camper Special, and you reuse your own spindle. You're going to reuse your own spindle. So there it is, guys. Finished. All I got to do is just zip on that little isolator and I'm done. I highly suggest this tool or something similar over the Maddox. A lot of people have the Maddox like me. The Maddox from Harbor Freight's a really good flare tool. Although this one right here, man, this thing is so easy to use. There's a whole lot of different brands. Some of them do 3/16 and a quarter. This one only does 3/16 for brake lines. But man, this is a breeze to do. It makes really good flares. Very simple to do and use. Focus in there. Highly recommend that. I use this for my Maddox tool to dig out the shaving, like when it's like this. You gotta get one of these. I actually didn't even use these. I bought these from Harbor Freight, and this will actually grab the brake line. I didn't like this at all. So what I did is I used some sockets, and I would bend the brake line if I wanted to make a U shape, depending on the size. I've actually gone as small as this, and it did it without kinking it with the copper nickel line. But use different size sockets. This is just one size that I used. And you just grab it and just bend it around. That's how you make your hoops, or go up against a pole like that, or have one in a vise. You can go up against anything solid, something like this, anything. And that copper nickel's not a joke. It'll make a really tight radius turn without kinking, but you got to make sure that you bend it around something round. Don't do a U shape by hand. You got to do it with something rounded off like this. There she is, completed. No more wiggle. Put a little insulator right there. Now I chose to go on the inside so that when my tire goes to the back, I'm not hitting the brake line. Copper nickel. Here's what I have left out of a 25-foot roll. Still have plenty to do a few things. And that's what $150 looks like when you don't want to do it yourself. Garbage.